So I'm living in the house in the Hollywood Hills, and that March of '99, people were flying in from all over the world to picket Scientology. Now, I was afraid to show my face in the past. They were there a year before, and I wanted to meet Bob Minton. I wanted to meet everybody out in the street, but I was too cowardly. I was too frightened of Scientology's fair game policy. I didn't want them coming after me. But
Which
after
they hadn't
having,
at that point.
No, as far as I know, they didn't know who I was. Then that March on Hubbard's birthday, everyone flew into LA, and I finally got up the courage to go and videotape an event. The next day after the birthday picket, I woke up and my neighbor phoned me and said, "Are you Mark Bunker?" I said, "Yes." She said, "I'm supposed to fear you." And I broke into laughter, and I realized, all right, they've been flyering my neighborhood. Right. And so we had a big laugh about it. We talked all about Xenu and OT3 and all this kind of stuff, and it was great fun. Upstairs in the house where I was living, there was a police officer and his girlfriend, and I went up to the officer and just told him, "Listen, there's a possibility, it's remote, there's a slight possibility they may someday come and picket me. I don't think it's going to happen, but it might happen." And I looked out the window, and at that exact moment, 2 people came to my home to picket me. So I ran downstairs, grabbed my camera, and went out there to start filming them. And that was Dan Bernan and another fellow who gave his name as D. And within 3 minutes after I started talking about OT3 and Xenu, D fled. He just said, "I'm out of here," and head for the hills. Dan stuck it out for about 20 minutes, and we had a little conversation in front of my house, and I instantly then put that video on the web, and it was the start of my website, actually. I didn't have a site then, but I knew at that moment, okay, I need to build a site. I knew who I am. There's no turning back now.
Were you afraid at that point? I mean,
I was afraid before they knew me. As soon as they knew who I was, then all the fear was lifted. Then it became so much easier.
That's interesting.
I tell you, there was an experience prior to all of this, when I first started looking into them. I had been an actor in the past. I had done a lot of industrial films, voiceovers, theater, some commercials. I couldn't really get my foot in the door for films or TV. But I'd taken a break for a few years, and I decided, no, you know, it's time I get back and try some acting again. So I got a new agent, and my first audition back, there was like 2 other actors there for this music video. And they're hanging out, waiting to audition. And one of them saying, "Oh, I just shot this commercial," and the other one saying, "Oh, I just shot this TV show," and I had nothing to talk about. So I said, "Well, I'm writing a movie about the Church of Scientology." Of course, if it ever got made, I'd end up dead in a ditch somewhere. A little offhand comment at an audition. A week or so later, I got a call from my agent saying, "A friend of a friend wants to talk to you."
Oh no.
And I didn't recognize the name of either of these friends, so I ignored it. And next week I got a call from my agent, very angry, saying a friend of a friend has a project they want you to do, and they're accusing us of not giving you the message, so please call them. And I still didn't recognize the names, but I thought it was some project. Okay, well, I'll give them a call. I get an answering machine, nondescript machine. I say, "Hi, it's Mark Bunker. I understand you've got a project for me. Here's my phone number." Hang up. Instantly, I get a call back. "Hi, this is so-and-so from the Church of Scientology. We understand you're writing a movie about us?" And that scared the heck out of me. And I stuttered and I stammered and I went, "No, I was just joking." Well,
Wow.
why would you joke about a thing like that? I don't know, and click, I hung up. And they called back, and I just let the answering machine pick up then. I still have the tape somewhere up there.
That's insane. So that little offhand comment at an audition.
Right, that's it. And that freaked me out, that they have that much reach. And it's like in Bowfinger, Steve Martin's film about...
I'm sorry, Will.
About Mind Cult, I believe it was. Mindhead. He did a Scientology-like cult that Eddie Murphy's character was involved with. And it's just like that. Steve Martin had it down you know, spot on. There is some studio guard that oversees something and reports right back to Scientology headquarters about the actions of Eddie Murphy. So that did scare me, and that they had that type of reach and power that they could hear a little random comment.
So do you think it was the person, was it just to the person sitting next to you, or was there a room full of people, anyone in that room?
No, there's just those two people in the room.
So someone of those two people heard that and reported it back.
So.
That's really weird.
That was...
that would upset me.
That was bizarre.
That's bizarre. Well, now since then, have you had a lot of frightening sort of, you know, fair gaming experiences? I mean, what would you say is probably the worst thing?
The worst thing would be when I moved to Clearwater, Florida, and was working for the LMT, and they sent me up to Chicago to interview two dentists.
And just so everybody knows, the LMT, that's Lisa McPherson Trust.
Right.
Okay.
Right. The Lisa McPherson Trust was
headed up by Bob
Minton and Stacy Brooks.
Stacy Brooks. Okay.
And we were in Clearwater for 2 years. We bought a building right next to Scientology's Office of Special Affairs. We came right in their backyard and said, "We're not afraid of you." And then they, of course, chased us out of town within 2 years.
Yeah, and chased you by, like, physical? I mean, like,
no, it was non-stop lawsuits.
Do you have any pending lawsuits against you now?
No. But we got a phone call from two married dentists who were defrauded out of $100,000 in Chicago, and they were trying to get back $20,000 that they paid for courses in advance that they never took. And it had been 2 years of struggling to get paid back that money that was due them. So finally they called us, and I booked a flight to come up there, and the second I booked a flight, they called us back and said, "Your phones must be bugged because they are calling us non-stop now to give us our money back." So I get there and I do an interview with them. I do part of it at their home, part at the dentist office, and then I'm going to join them outside the org for a little bit of the interview. The org is what they call their church. And we get to the front door, I pick up my camera and I ask them, "So tell me what's going on here." Before they have a chance to answer, two guys in black leather coats come racing out of the door, run between the two dentists, grab me by either arm and arrest me for trespassing while I'm on a public sidewalk. And I was hauled off to jail, fingerprinted, you know.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. The cell door was slammed behind me. It was great fun for about 4 hours. Thank God it only lasted 4 hours, because by then I was
you had enough.
Yeah, at first I was having a great time. I was sitting in there singing "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot." I was pretending.
Because you know you hadn't done anything wrong.
Yeah, I hadn't done anything wrong. Me, I'm arrested.
Exactly. You're a wise beard man. You're cuddly and you know you're like a teddy bear.
This is insane, and I never thought I'd have a chance to be arrested, and here I was. So
exactly. Everybody should experience that.
I'd enjoy it, having my mugshot taken, all that. But by the end of 4 hours, the novelty had worn off. Well, thankfully they let me go, and it was only like $75 for the
just pay fine.
Yeah. Well, no, not for the fine. I actually had to stand trial. I had to go back a year later and stand trial for this little misdemeanor trespassing charge. And it cost Bob like $60,000 to defend me. Scientology spent $300 just hiring two off-duty thugs, and it cost Bob $60,000. So that's the way they were able to keep whittling away at Bob.
So they just keep, they're so litigious, and they just basically wear down your bank account because they can't really physically do anything to you.
Now, since they've forced Bob into retirement, they have not been litigious, which is a big change for them. A turning point happened when South Park did their episode on Scientology, and they ended it by saying, "Sue me. Go ahead and sue me," and Scientology didn't sue. Well, that was a huge breakthrough, and it showed other media organizations, well, maybe it's safe for us to report on them again. And since then, the floodgates have broken open.
Sure.
And it's been a whole different world out there.
I wouldn't be able to do what I do had it were not for people like you and Bob Minton paving sort of the way, and Arnie Lerma and Tori doing what they do.
Right.
I think in Anonymous, what they've been able to do is give, because there is the anonymity and there's so many people, and they've been sort of disseminating information on the internet. There's just it's like trying to plug a dam. There's just no way to plug that many holes.
Right.
And the floodgates have opened, and now it's just, I mean, what do you think the end game is for Scientology at this point?
You know, I'm not sure what an end game would be. I do think a turning point will be getting rid of their tax-exempt status. They didn't always have it. They shouldn't keep it. And that's going to be an important landmark in their history. And I think it's doable, and I think it should be achieved soon.
Do you have any suggestions? I've been told, please stop, that we need to write letters to Congress and get try and pressure a congressional hearing in order to get that change. Because what they won't do...
That doesn't hurt, and it's something that I've urged Anonymous and other people to do, certainly to contact their government officials. I have all my senators and congressmen in my speed dial in my cell phone, so I can call them on any issue. The White House as well. Not that they pay attention to me, but I can call them.
So phone calls are the way to go?
Phone calls, letters, yeah, emails. Showing up at your local representative's offices. They have offices in your neighborhood. Find out where your district office is and swing by there.
Just hey.
Bring them some information. Bring them some facts. It's shameful that they were able to bring the IRS to its knees with lawsuits and get this tax exemption status that is special to them only. They have more rights than any other group, than any other supposed religion.
I have, since you're involved in the Lisa McPherson Trust, I'm going to ask one more question and then we'll close it out on you here and let you walk around. I don't want to monopolize your time. I know you're an important figure at this protest.
I'm hoping that after this is done that we can just hang out the rest of the day.
That would be super fantastic. Do you think that once the floodgates of information have opened that there'll be another look into the Lisa McPherson case? Do you think we know everything there is to know about that case?
I think we know basically everything we need to know. There's some things we'd like to know, but those wouldn't have come out in the Lisa McPherson case because those were documents that were destroyed by Scientology. Scientology keeps notes on everything. They're meticulous about that. If it's not written down, it didn't happen.
Right.
And when Lisa McPherson was locked in the Fort Harrison Hotel for the last 17 days of her life, the caretakers watching over her 24 hours a day on the baby watch, as they call it, the introspection rundown, they were keeping detailed records of what was happening to Lisa and her care and her condition every step of the way until the last 3 days of her life, when those records disappeared. And the people who were watching over her were whisked out of the country. And those things will probably never recover. Everything else in the case, all the police files, all the evidence and investigation on it, all the court records, they've been out there, they're on the net, anybody can read them. We know the horrors that went on in the last 17 days of her life. We know what happened in there. Shouldn't happen to anyone.
Do you think they're responsible for her death?
I do. I don't think they killed her, but they certainly deprived her of medical care. There are a lot of people who are upset with Stacey Brooks because in the testimony in the Lisa McPherson case, she testified that she didn't think that they killed Lisa. Well, they didn't kill Lisa, but they were responsible for her care and they were responsible for her death. And you would think that Scientology would learn something from that experience. But they've learned the wrong lesson. All they learned from that was to have new members sign a stipulation when they join up, agreeing that they do not want to have psychiatric care, should they ever need it. That they want only Scientology to provide them care, and Scientology can do anything that they like without the Scientologist or their family suing Scientology. We call that the Lisa Clause.
I've read about that.
Yeah, so it's disgusting the way Scientology behaves. And
it's all about protecting their assets and not about doing the right thing.
Right. So Lisa will never be forgotten. Her case will always be around for people to check out, and unfortunately,
cautionary tale of life inside the Church of Scientology. What can happen, when you get involved in a cult?
Is it going to happen to everyone? No, but it's happened to enough people, and I just met another person here who told me about a friend whose child committed suicide because of disconnection the fact that the mom was in, the dad was not, and they were cut off, and that type of thing is far too common.
Yes.
The type of thing that should not be allowed to happen, and it certainly should not be tax exempt.
Right.
So let's strip them of that for now. The internet has already had a major impact on cutting down on the raw meat, as they call us. All the people
I think
who are
Anonymous
out
has been very successful at doing
very
that.
much so, yeah. The stats have been crashing left and right in Scientology.
They need to keep going.
Because it's hard to get new members in, and all they can do is bleed the old members dry. When Hubbard was around, he could write a new level. Whenever they were short on cash, he could say, "Great news, everyone! I just wrote OT5," and then everybody would get out their checkbooks and okay, there'd be cash in the coffers again. He dropped dead, and there's nothing new for them to release, so they have to keep re-releasing all the old stuff.
Can't do that now.
Well, they keep trying. They keep saying, "Well, great news, everybody!
We found new."
Yeah, we found out that there were printer errors last time. So everything we've been selling you for the past 50 years, that's all wrong. Sure, L. Ron Hubbard didn't notice that it was wrong, and he wrote the damn stuff, and he was source. But he didn't notice for all those decades that he was giving you improper tech. But now we fixed it. Now
The perfect tech was not perfect, but it is now.
Now it is, yeah. Until a year or two from now, when they'll find out more errors, and they'll have to start selling the same crap again.
Hard to believe people are that gullible, but that's what Anonymous has been good at, is exposing the fraudulent nature of the Church of Scientology.
And by the way, people can believe in Hubbard. They can believe in his tech.
Sure.
That's fine. Just don't lie about it. Just don't cause all these abuses. And, you know, there's a whole movement out there called the Free Zone.
Hi, Interp.
There are people out there in the Free Zone who believe in Hubbard, believe in the tech, and want to audit one another.
The tech without
great.
the abuse.
The tech is out there, and they're not robbing people blind. They're not breaking up families. They're not hiring PIs to follow anyone. I consider them friends. I mean, if Scientology could behave as nicely as the Free Zone, nobody would complain about this.
Sure.
We got to strip the evil out of Scientology, and we might start with David Miscavige.
That would be an absolute excellent start. Well, I guess we're gonna. I guess my daughter's gonna sing now, so I hope you'll come over. Will you come over and join us for that?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Mark, for taking the time, and I sure hope those first 10 minutes of that excellent history of your beginnings, this fabulous, be careful, Lily, person that we got. So I will put this all together when I get back home, and I'll tell you what we got.
Let the singing begin.
Yay! Thank you very much.
Thank you.